what it does, something like this, suck the life right out of you, suck the hope right out of you. And I'm going to explain what exactly I mean by that. Good morning to you. Good Monday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is an especially upbeat episode of Daily Shot of Steelers presented by FanDuel. Comes your way bright and early every weekday, whether you want it to or not. If you're into hockey and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of the other two teams in town, the Penguins and the Pirates. Seahawks 31, Steelers 17. Yesterday in the home opener at Acrisure Stadium. I'd love to be able to share that was the extent of the damage. It wasn't. It wasn't. In addition to losing two more defensive starters on top of the three who were already out, add Alex Highsmith, Isaiah Loudermilk to the injured, and add on top of everything just all around awful football. Offensively awful, defensively awful, special teams unspeakable. As always, when it comes to team sports, especially ones that have 53 players on each side, there's all kinds of blame to go around. Legitimately, not just in a manner of speaking. If I were pressed to go through all 53 of the Steelers players, including the inactives, I'd probably be able to come up with some kind of minus for everyone this side of Jaylen Warren, who was wonderful when he was allowed to play. So 52 players, positional coaches, coordinators, right up to the head coach. Everybody gets some. But let's also be real here. Some earn more than others. When I think about things that felt deflating or dispiriting about this football game, the first and natural inclination I have is to think of plays in which players failed to come through, or in some of these circumstances, just got steamrollered. When I see Peyton Wilson repeatedly be unable to stop the run, I'm not thinking of other people to blame. I'm just thinking of Wilson. When I see the wide receivers dropping those early passes from Aaron Rodgers, the Pat Freiermuth one too, the deep ball, easily should have resulted in an early Pittsburgh touchdown. I'm not thinking about blaming the tight ends coach or Arthur Smith or Tomlin. When I see Caleb Johnson do what he did, I'm not thinking about Danny Smith, who emphasizes every minute detail to the extreme. Never mind something as grossly obvious as you actually need to pick up the football when it's in play. I'm not thinking about Danny Smith. I'm not thinking about Tomlin. But as a handful of hours goes by, a little bit of nap before doing the Daily Shot podcasts, what I am thinking about isn't even this game. I'm thinking about the next one. Next Sunday in Foxborough against the Patriots. And I'm thinking about how, for all the things that Tomlin does not have in his control, like injuries, like individual errors, I started to think more about the ones that he does have in his control. The ones where he can make a difference. And you know the next thing that crosses my mind, right? Yep. He's never going to do it. He's not going to change a thing. Examples abound. All of this past week, the discussion on the field, off the field, was about getting after it, pressuring the Seattle backfield in a way that they did not pressure Justin Fields and the Jets. Didn't do it. Wouldn't do it. Seahawks would get themselves into third down, even third and long, sometimes third and really long. And you know what Tomlin and Terrell Austin wouldn't do? They wouldn't blitz. They wouldn't get after Sam Darnold. They wouldn't do the things that the entire NFL saw the 49ers do in completely shutting down the Seahawks just the previous week. Why? Because in Tomlin's eyes, it would be a tacit admission that what he and Austin tried in the first game was a mistake. And he can't have that. He can't have anyone anywhere saying symbolically, told you so. It's just not in his personality. That's not necessarily even a criticism. A lot of people are like that. I don't happen to feel it's a healthy trait in a head coach, but a lot of people are like that. In New Jersey, the Steelers gave more snaps to Kenny Gainwell than they did to Warren, an act of outright insanity. Doubly so when this game opens with Warren on a mission, tearing through and around the Seattle defense. They had no counter for him. They had no answer in any setting. Turns out they didn't need to, because they had Tomlin standing there on the sideline, hoping to prove that he and Arthur Smith were right in believing in Gainwell all summer long. This is not new. I've been telling you guys about this for weeks, going back to Latrobe, that Gainwell was going to be a big part of this offense, or at least that they were going to try to make him into one. So they shoved Gainwell out there again, and all he did was kill drives that Warren would get going. Why? See above. I asked Tomlin after this game if he saw enough from Warren on this day to believe that he'd be capable of higher usage. This was the answer.
I'm certain he can. I know that he had a good week's work. I know that he felt good going into today, and he expressed that. And so I see no reason why he can't.
And he'll do that every once in a while, too. He'll say, oh, yeah, he's done that with me specifically before. I've asked him questions like, can you anticipate making changes, personnel changes? And he'll come back with, and this will ring a bell with some of you who follow this sort of thing closely. Certainly. Yes, absolutely. And then the following week will come along and nothing changes. Maybe it's because now not only would he be the coach hearing told you so, maybe just in his head, but he'd be responding to something the dopey reporter asked about. Nothing's going to change. Peyton Wilson will still be out there. Cole Holcomb will still be on the sideline. There will be no additional blitzing, not under any circumstance, not under 3rd and long. TJ Watt won't be moved anywhere around the line of scrimmage, no matter how often teams run up the middle or run away from him. That is what's happening, by the way. Why? Didn't do it in the first 2 weeks. Can't make it look like we're weak. Gainwell's going to keep getting the ball. The ratio between Gainwell and Warren, even after this, really won't change much at all. Broderick Jones will remain the left tackle, because that'd be admitting a mistake on an entirely separate level. Meaning, of course, trading up to get him in an NFL draft and allowing Jackson Smith and Najigba to fall past them and then to go out there and beat them yesterday. What a player that dude is, by the way, huh? There won't be any moves made to throw over the middle any more than there will be moves made to prevent all those throws over the middle by Darnold and the Seahawks, one after the other. That's what takes away the hope. It's not that you give up on, for example, a Caleb Johnson. You just don't. That would be nuts. You don't give up on players, at least not without a good amount of gravity to what they've done. Players, especially younger ones, can improve. They can get better. Heck, situations can improve. They can get better. Problems can find solutions, but only if you're actively seeking them. When we come back, J1Q. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George is a personal injury law firm in Western Pennsylvania that represents injured people in automobile accidents, workers' compensation cases, and medical malpractice claims. The attorneys at Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George pride themselves in doing what they say they're going to do. It's important to them that when they make you a promise, they keep that promise. And this law firm has been keeping promises for over 80 years. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George has been AV rated. That's the highest rating a law firm can receive for legal ability and ethics. And the lawyers at the firm have been designated super lawyers, that's a real thing, for over 15 years. Rare combination there. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George has offices in Cranberry, Newcastle, Beaver Falls, Butler, and Elwood City. Learn more about them at lgkg.com or by calling 888-842 842-5454. Again, that's 888-842-5454. Football season's finally here. Time to check out the latest odds, futures, and win totals on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Think the Steelers are headed to the Super Bowl? Lock in your bets today. Whatever your game, FanDuel Sportsbook delivers the latest lines, futures, and specials so you can join in on all the action. Hey guys, if you're planning to see a Steelers game, use the Game Time app to get your tickets. You can snag new ticket deals before anyone if you set it into your app alerts. The app is easy to use. No surprise fees at checkout. You can see your seat view before buying, and you're getting legit tickets delivered on time. If you're not much of a planner, you can get last-minute deals on tickets right up to the start of the event. Lowest price guaranteed, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Download the Game Time app and enter the code DK Steelers into your app profile to get $20 off your first purchase. Today's J1Q, from a very, very voluminous pile, comes from Tim West, who asks, where have TJ Watt and Cam Hayward been in these first two games, or don't they start playing until October, since they never participated in the exhibition season? This team isn't going anywhere this year. Tim, I'm not about to take issue with your last sentence, certainly not after yesterday. I'm also not going to endorse it. As Aaron Rodgers reminded me when I brought up the subject of his apparent frustration out on the field and looking pretty animated at times, he replied, and I quote directly, come on, it's week 2. So I say the same thing back to you, Tim, as far as anything that looks too far ahead. However, on the subject of Watt and Hayward, as could only be fair, you would separate the two of them. With Watt, and I referenced this in the opening segment, teams are running up the middle. You've seen that. That's not some inside information I'm sharing. Teams are also running in the direction away from Watt. That is only common sense. Once Alex Highsmith leaves the game, you're exposed from a running standpoint on that side. Nobody would dispute that. After getting home following the game and watching some additional footage, I was like, I thought that, and then I really had it reinforced. Because Nick Herbig has many wonderful attributes, and you saw one of those on display with his interception return. He can be electric at times. What he can't do, still, is stop the run. Peyton Wilson, at the risk of continuing to pick on him, can't stop the run. So there they went. So if there's no place for TJ to make, there's no place for him to make. Can you move him around the line? Yes. Should they have already been doing that? Yes. Are there risks associated with that? Of course. But then I'd love to see this team just take any kind of risks in any situation, especially 4th and 1 at midfield. I mean, why? Why? What is it that you hope to gain from that? Anyway, to finish up with TJ, I asked him if he felt that teams were either running away from him or running toward the middle to avoid him, and I got a dozen seconds of this.
I don't know. I mean, I'll let you guys speculate all that stuff. I'm just trying to help as much as I possibly can, any way that I possibly can.
Yeah, nobody was in much of a mood. Hayward's a different story. When I hear anyone suggesting that Hayward hasn't played well in the first two games, look, it's obvious. You give up 396 yards to Sam Darnold and the Seahawks, you've done a lot wrong. So I'm not going to say that Hayward was good. I am going to say that I saw with my own eyes, and I expect to have that supported by film once the All-22 comes out today, that Cam did a lot of good things, not least of which was getting the pass defense on that Herbig interception. He is shedding blocks. He's getting free. He's making stuff happen. And while he's doing that, he's getting virtually no similar support from the remainder of the defensive front. You can take that as me defending TJ and Cam or whatever. I couldn't care less. I can also take it myself as the people who are mad at them for either wanting a lot of money or getting a lot of money or having taken in a lot of money for a lot of years without winning playoff games. So when we see really ordinary statistics like those that the two of them put up yesterday, they're going to make a lot of people's lists too. Look, I'm not here to make anybody feel better about anything. I'm not here to say, hey, this is all going to boomerang back against the Patriots next week. Other than the possibility that a lot of these injured people will return, that Derek Harmon can be back and start stabilizing that defensive line, that the occasional really big play will come along to rescue the team from time to time. I've got nothing for you because I don't believe for a split second that the changes that need to be made, and again, I'm just talking about tactical and personnel. I'm not talking about, go fire Terrell Austin or something insane. And I say insane only because they would never do it. I mean, even just the stuff that I cited in the opening segment, they won't touch it. He won't touch it. I got to stop with the theys. I appreciate you, Tim. I appreciate everybody who listens to Daily Shot of Steelers. Don't forget, we have a double shot coming up today at 4 p.m. that'll probably be just as chipper. Make sure you download the DK Pittsburgh Sports app to check out the show.